All right, y'all, pop quiz. Which one is healthier, a full-grown head of lettuce or a tray of microgreen sprouts? I got some pushback about my windowsill garden saying I would never be able to grow full plants, and it made me wonder, why do we prioritize fully mature plants in our diet and in a grocery store when microgreens have 5 times nutritional value and they're easier to grow? Well, it all started when they redefined what it means to farm, and to understand why they did that, we'll have to go all the way back to the 1800s. See, at the beginning of the 1800s, almost 90% of Americans lived on farms. But these weren't farms by today's standards. These were what were known as kitchen gardens, just big enough to sustain a family and small enough to maintain without industrial equipment. These gardens acted as an extension of the kitchen. They existed in their own microclimate, they produced food, and they produced medicine. And since they were right outside, they didn't require refrigeration or complex transportation networks. Harvest went directly from the garden to the kitchen. These early farmers didn't know it yet, but they had competition. Marketization. By the 1900s, the amount of people farming their own food was cut by half. That's when urbanization, fueled by industrialization, created the illusion of convenience and year-round availability. At the time, this fit really well with the newly formed image of the American dream. That dream included the image of abundant kitchen tables and fully stocked fridge. Why toil away on your own land when you could just run to the grocery store? Yeah, it costs money, but you could just get a job at the factory. I know the factories are near the city, but you could just leave this rural land and head to suburbia. Matter of fact, I have an apartment I can rent you. Corporations offered what seemed like a sweet deal, and while everybody flooded into the city, those same corporations were buying up all the cropland. The overall amount of farms went down, while the average size of farms went up by 500%. By the 2000s, the amount of Americans living and working on farms was down to 2%. And half of that cropland was on farms with more than 1,000 acres. These are the farms we know today. Which brings me back to lettuce. Our newly industrialized farms are being heavily subsidized by the government, and the government rewards them for high output. And this new system shifted food into a commodity. The new age farm is rewarded for weight, not health impact. So growers spam cash crops and then they just cash out, all while we slowly lose our understanding of what constitutes food and health. Yesterday's redefining of farming has overarching political, societal, cultural impacts that we'll be dealing with today and tomorrow. But I'll have to touch on some more of that tomorrow. I gotta go eat my lettuce.